Welcome to episode 18 of the ASM pod. 18 till I die. This is a special podcast again because I have the immense honor of meeting our man from Footie Talk, Mr. Sudesh Baniya. It's very nice to see you, my brother.
Thank you, Sandai. Always a pleasure to be here.
It was fantastic to have you on my show, Spirit Axis.
No. Pleasure is all mine. Like that was probably the first blues gig that I ever watched live. Like I've seen them all on YouTube. That was another experience. So if I ever like become like a very hardcore blues consumer, which I am, and like in future my gigs are going, but the start will always be Spirit X gig. So
Thank you. One more converted. Okay, so again, this is a special edition of Footy Talk because the most excellent time, except for the season end, is the transfer market time, man. Oh my God, I can't tell you for these past since 2008, 2007. I love the transfer market period. Also because I still play a game called Soccer Manager and I have to stay updated to update my teams. So I I've sort of fallen off the wagon now because like other priorities like life have come up, but just this period is just so exciting for me. Deadline day, where the big movers and shifters are. We'll jump straight into it, and I'll put you on the grill. Why does Chelsea need another attacking midfielder in Raheem Sterling? And go.
no, I think it's like they're more of not looking at an attacking striker, attacking midfielder, but they're genuinely looking to sign a player who is on his peak and is English. If that makes sense, it's always a good reinforcement if you're going for someone like Raheem Sterling, who has been in the Premier League for like 10 or 12 years, but he's still 27 or 28,
Yeah.
and has played in a team like Man City where he has had his moments where he has pulled the rabbit out of his hat and won you matches. So I think not from a very like they're not going to play him in an attacking midfielder role. They are probably guys that they want to bank on in that position. For example, you have the likes of Kai Havertz or even Mason Mount can play that way. So yeah, even Hakim G. Even if you put in Christian Pulisic, he's really good at that position.
That was my question. Why, like, we count this, right? Mason Mount, Ziyech, Kai
Probably
Havertz.
Ziyech is leaving Chelsea now. So
really?
yeah,
Where's he going?
not fixed yet, but AC Milan have a very solid offer for him.
I would love him in AC Milan.
But did you notice, like, since we're mentioning Ziyech, he made into the headlines recently. Okay? So there's this big talk, like, in football world that football agents are bringing in little value to players these days. त्यो भन्ने एउटा discourse चलिरहेछ. So it was Kevin De Bruyne who did it first. So he does not have any agent as till date. So जुन पनि नेगोसिएसन्सहरू हुन्छ ट्रान्सफरको बेलामा or contract extension, he goes in the meeting room himself, presents his data himself, shows his videos himself, and then says, give me this amount of money because I've done this. So
Is that what he did in Chelsea?
no, he did. Like Man City go अस्ति भर्खर recent thing that he did, like contract extension. He did that himself. So GX too, he'll have his lawyers, and he won't have any football agent from now on.
Wow.
So he'll be negotiating for himself. So this is going to be an increasing trend. अहिले भर्खर सुरु नै भएको. So
It's a
GX
very
is
good
probably
thing.
leaving. Yeah,
I like this trend.
probably leaving. Yeah, but like it's this way. हेर्दाखेरि पनि there are players that can do that, and there are players that cannot absolutely do that. So agents probably will stick around, but the notion that you must have an agent might fall apart. Yeah.
It's like a band manager.
Yeah.
You don't absolutely need a band manager
Yeah.
until you absolutely
Absolutely
need a
bad
band
man.
manager.
Yeah, until you're not that good enough. Yeah, so we're talking about Chelsea. So I think Raheem Sterling ko City ko tenure हेर्दाखेरि पनि he played wide most of his time in Chelsea. Yeah, no, City. Ani so I think they're buying a player like that in him. So not an attacking midfielder, but someone who can hug the touchline as well as come in and then maybe score some goals or make some moves or make the opposition dabble. And I think it's a very thought out signing, Banye, because they didn't go for absolute bonkers. You know. They didn't spend so much on him, and the new ownership, Chelsea ownership, is actually uh, a very good topic to start on as to how Sterling signing happened. So as of now, there are only few managers or head coaches in the world, in club football at least, that have the same amount of power as Thomas Tuchel. Because when Chelsea ko yo whole takeover thing happened and Todd Bowley and his associates bought this club, they were expecting certain people to from the Abramovich era to stick to the club. For example, technical director was Petr Cech. And there was this lady who ran the club for Abramovich for more than a decade, Maria Granovskaya.
Yeah.
They were expecting them to stick with the club, even though Abramovich is gone. But they did it.
Yeah.
So right now, Thomas Tuchel is the man who's instructing or who's approving the transfer necessarily.
Oh.
So recently, Ronaldo, they didn't sign Ronaldo. When they offered, they were completely against it because Thomas Tuchel didn't approve it. And they're doing those kind of signings right now, right? So they're letting Christensen go. They recently signed Koulibaly, so it's a very good signing. So they're going for those mid-range players that can turn up into like.
They signed Koulibaly from Napoli?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, did it. So
That's the perfect replacement for Rudiger.
Rudiger, yeah. So yes, for Rudiger, that's a
Damn.
very good replacement.
That's
very
a very
good. Yeah.
good replacement. He's what, 29? Koulibaly?
I guess 28.
28.
Yeah, he should be 28.
Okay.
So they got Koulibaly, and I think they're tapping into the really good side of market. So if you look at it, I know. अब एकचोटि चाहिँ ट्रान्सफर मार्केटमा के पनि थियो भन्दा when City were just coming to the rise, त्यो उनीहरूको फर्स्टको दुईटा टाइटल पछि हैन, there was a notion within English Premier League after some transfers. For example, Torres went from Liverpool to Chelsea, and then Robin van Persie came from Arsenal to United. Actually, Bitsako, if you analyze this time after that, there was like a weird time for top 6 English clubs. I know that's an outdated term, but like still, let's put it that way. They were very reluctant to selling players to each other. And right now, it's an interesting time because right now, they've realized that if you have to sell your players, you need to have a market. And the market, I think, exists within the top 6 now. Bilingual clubs are not willing to spend that much. So,
especially on an English player.
Yeah. Or even like Aru players. So for example, if you see, Barcelona are trying to get Bernardo Silva from Manchester City.
Really?
Right. If provided that Frankie de Jong leaves. So they're going to pay like 80 to 90 million for Bernardo Silva.
My God, Spotify.
Who else in the world can
pay
afford
that
like
money,
80, 90, except for
PSG.
top 6 clubs? Yeah, PSG is like, yeah. Let's not keep PSG in the same
Let's not
bracket.
talk about MSG, Mbappe, Saint Germain.
Yeah, and then so there was this time when City go even bench players that were too expensive for any other clubs to afford.
I'm sure.
So now they've resorted to the fact that you need to have a market in order to have a value for your players.
Right.
So you see Gabriel Jesus going to Arsenal because like the transfer is like happening between themselves now. So
I don't think Arsenal is a top 6 club.
I mean, it's I told you.
Avash is listening.
I told you. I think based on the performances of last 7 or 8 years, Leicester City probably deserves to be in the top 6 more than Arsenal. But I acknowledge the fact that it's an outdated term. But financially successful clubs are like, in terms of rivalry. Now they're resorting to selling players as well because they need like. A player is as valuable as the market is. So if you don't have a market to sell, like no matter how valuable your player is, you're not getting the money
out of it.
Yeah.
So let's get to the main theme of today's episode, which is the top 5 transfers, or the top 5 transfers that are about to conclude. I'll start. I think Gareth Bale going to the US. I mean, I know he's going there for. I still think he's in his prime. I still think he can still go, but I think it's a good move for him as a player, because I think he can gain his as you talked about the market and his rights and brand and image. I think that's gonna go tenfold. That's what Zlatan did. Zlatan went to LA Galaxy, raised his profile, and then came back and did it. And I think Gareth Bale is going to do the same.
Yeah, for Bale, उसले publicly पनि भनिरहेको कुरा हो that he wants to compete in the World Cup भनेर हैन. So the World Cup, fortunately this time around, it's in the winter for Gareth Bale हैन. So provided he was in Real Madrid, he contributed very little in their Champions League run as well as domestically. Basically, past 2-3 years have been very difficult for Gareth Bale, bar the Tottenham loan spell, you know. So in LAFC, he'll be their main man. We know LAFC already has Carlos Vela, and then they have a bunch of talented youngsters there. But like for Gareth Bale, it's like a regular playing opportunity before the World Cup, and provided that he sticks to what he does, he's likely getting to the World Cup in a very good shape. So that's the main motivation. And also, like, a move to MLS, you cannot ignore it. A move anywhere outside of Europe has to be motivated by an external factor. And I'm pretty sure LA Galaxy have a very big briefcase ready for Gareth Bale already.
I'm sure. That was number one. Number two, Frankie de Jong.
That's not a transfer.
To Man United. That's a saga. That's not a transfer.
Yes.
That is so close to happening and not happening at the same time. Look, I love Frankie de Jong. I think in that Ajax squad that had Delight, the ZX, I loved Frankie de Jong. He reminded me of the old school Beckenbauer sweeper where he could start from the back and finish the attack. And I've always been a big fan of Frankie de Jong. I still don't think that he should leave Barcelona.
Yeah.
I still think if you put him in that role where he's next to, I don't know, I mean, if he plays just a sweeper, he's going to be so pivotal to that team. He's the captain. He's the captain material, that Frankie de Jong. He was the captain of Ajax when they had all these young superstars coming out, right?
I think it was De Ligt.
Was designed. Who's even younger than him?
De Ligt was 18 when he was Ajax captain.
Oh my God, that's right. That's right.
But like, completely agree. He plays that role, libero role, as you said, like sweeping centre back or a defensive midfielder who comes very, very deep in. Frankie de Jong saga ekdamai interesting, and let me give a bit of context into how this happened to Barcelona. So in 2019, when de Jong was, it was always almost fixed that top clubs in Europe are coming for that Ajax team. It was almost, obvious that Frankie de Jong would get a big move, and there were two contenders at that time, PSG and Barcelona, fighting for de Jong. So what Barcelona did basically was, then Barcelona president Josep Maria Bartomeu flew to the Netherlands, and then this is mentioned in Simon Cooper's book Barca book ma. He directly told him, like, this is going to be your city for the next 10 years or for the rest of your playing career. If you want money, you can obviously go to PSG. But if you want a future in Barcelona, if you want a future, if you want a dream, de Jong has always made it clear that Barcelona has always been his dream. So he sold that dream to de Jong, and then de Jong came to Barcelona, although it was an obvious choice that he would make it to Barcelona. Then we should accept the fact that de Jong has not been as impressive as he was at Ajax ever since he's come to Barcelona, and that's not entirely his fault as well. He has played under like 4 managers. He's played under a broken system. He's played under a club that has made like Lionel Messi look helpless. So it's like, it's not entirely his fault. And still to consider is we have a midfielder that is 25 years old and has all the talent in the world to become one of the greatest midfielders of his generation.
For another 10 years,
Yes. And Barcelona are letting that midfielder go just because they have to settle their finances. And it's an interesting thing because they agreed to a fee. They deferred his salary. He took a pay cut as well, but Barcelona is due to pay 17 million to Frankie de Jong, and that's the only thing that's keeping de Jong's move to Manchester United away right now. So they have to pay before he leaves for Manchester United. So that's the condition right now, and de Jong is absolutely right in this case because you cannot be like, I will pay you this much, but another year. You cannot be like, hey, I cannot pay you that. Can you take a pay cut? De Jong is absolutely right in his own way to stick to his things. And actually, Barcelona-ko kurama herdakheri pani this more of a look like this looks like they're selling all of their sellable assets one after another. So they pulled the economic levers, sold their 10% of their TV rights, for domestic league for the next 25 years and all that. And for them, for Barcelona, the only asset that they can sell in a very good value is Frankie de Jong right now, because they consider Pedri untouchable, Gavi untouchable, and then no one's gonna splatter like 80-90 million in Memphis Depay
No.
or anyone else. Aubameyang is really too old, and then anything else. So
Why did they buy Ferran Torres for so much then?
so first things first, Barcelona have always had an inclination towards signing Spanish players,
Okay.
so crowding their things with
Gotcha.
Spanish players, and this also has to do with Spanish, how much influence that they can put in the Spanish team. And if you see it, Ferran Torres is a guaranteed starter for
100%.
Yeah. So even this comes back to the finance thing. If they cannot pay their own players, why are they signing new players?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's like that. So it's how the finances work.
It's like the impulsive shopper.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, they are, for a fact. Barcelona in recent years are a perfect example of how a club should not be run. But like, for now, what they are trying to do, in very simple words, I will explain this in very simple words, is if they have Frankie de Jong, who's like, who sold in 85 million, and then has a salary of about 13 million per year. So from the next year onwards, if they sell the player, 13 million चाहिँ उनीहरूको accounts of profit भनेर गनिन्छ. So they can use the 13 million to manage their own salaries. That's part of a reason why they couldn't register Lionel Messi last time around, because his salary was like 45 to 50 million euros per year. And they agreed to that. Like it's not that Messi snatched it or Frankie de Jong is snatching it, but they agreed to a fee. The previous board agreed to a fee. But there are ways in which this could be done better for Barcelona. For example, I was looking up like 2-3 दिन अगाडि, because I obviously don't want this Frankie de Jong transfer to happen to Manchester United, because we're obviously losing a player who loves Barcelona and wants to stay at Barcelona no matter what. If you sell the likes of Sergi Roberto, Memphis Depay, and Martin Braithwaite, you're gonna free up similar amount of salary as Frankie de Jong himself. So the only thing that Barcelona are looking at right now is that how to get away paying those 17 million that they owe to Frankie de Jong. So it's a messed up business.
This comes back to the initial point you made, that the market value of the players itself.
Yeah.
There's so few clubs that are left that can actually spend that money.
And right now as well, if you look at it, Leeds transfer window, they sold two of their best players, Rafinha and Calvin Phillips. So what they did was, right now, अहिले value आउँदाखेरि बेचौँ. So both Calvin Phillips and Rafinha had 1 year left on their contract. So what they did was, if you wait long enough, or sell them when they get the value. So they got, like, I guess, somewhere around 55 for Rafinha and then 45 for Calvin Phillips. So that's how they sold it. For Barcelona as well, that's what they're thinking. Frankie has not been up to his potential, and if he has another bad season, his value might decrease. So what they're thinking is, if we get 85 million right now, but they're not understanding that they have a midfielder that's like probably gonna be the best midfielder.
Yeah, he's gonna be the heartbeat for like him and Pedri. Oh my god.
Yeah, him and Pedri, like, yeah.
Jeez. Okay, sticking with Barcelona, transfer story number 3 is Lewandowski. Robert Lewandowski, who famously left Borussia Dortmund for Bayern Munich, is now on a free transfer, may I add.
Not on a free transfer. I think it's for 45 million considering the add-ons. So it's like 35 plus 10, I guess.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Because, it's not free, because...
No, the transfer from Dortmund to Bayern Munich.
Oh, Dortmund to Bayern Munich was free. Yeah.
That was free. That's what I meant.
Now I'm
No, not
talking
this
to
one.
Barcelona,
No. This one is very different. He is 33 now. And again, Lewandowski, I'll always have good things to say about him. One of the best target men, ball control, finish, first touch, off the ball. It's just so good. He's been so good. Him going to Barcelona for 45 million and you pushing out Frankie de Jong also to sort of free up space. Why does Barcelona need Robert Lewandowski?
I think it's it's more of like it makes sense to have Robert Lewandowski in this side. Uh, if you look at it, Aubameyang has worked really well in Barcelona, and they need a goal scorer. Because अब Ronald Koeman को era देखि जब जाबीको एरामा transfer भयो, a lot of points that Barcelona lost were because they couldn't finish their chances. So Xavi has established a system where you can create a lot of chances, and you have the players to do that. Pedri, Gabi, and then even Frankie De Jong was pivotal, and then you have Ousmane Dembele. You know? So you need a finisher in that squad there. But with Robert Lewandowski, what they're seeing is they're seeing like a experienced goal scorer who is still capable of producing like 30 to 40 goals every season, and they're trying to get in like an upgrade to Aubameyang maybe, because they know Aubameyang will be gone in like a year or two, right? And it makes sense with Robert Lewandowski as well, because they've offered him a 3-year contract, so he's gonna be in Barcelona till like 36. But still, considering the economic circumstances, I think Barcelona could have only stuck with Aubameyang if they had to balance their books. It's always good to upgrade on your players, but like if you are very struggling to even register the players, by the way, they cannot yet register Rafinha and Robert Lewandowski yet. Kessie and Christensen as well. So they need to sell 25% of their TV rights again, second lever, to register two players at money. So they have to earn more to sell, like register those players. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy as a Barcelona fan because we're obviously getting a quality goal scorer and who can actually finish chances and then get those clutch goals, which he has always done in Bayern Munich.
Clinical.
Yeah, very clinical. And as you said, target man. Yes, it's always a good sight when you see like Dembele and then maybe Ansu Fati and Ferran Torres creating chances for a striker like Robert Lewandowski.
That's what Chelsea tried with Lukaku.
I mean, not exactly. With Lukaku, what Thomas Tuchel wanted to do, in theory, it made perfect sense.
It did.
Yeah.
It actually did.
He wanted Lukaku to be that player who holds off
the
players.
ball as people run past.
Yeah. And he had an optimum forward to do that. Timo Werner was really good at doing that in RB Leipzig. So it worked in theory, but you know, I guess Inter was better.
And this is like people going back to their Italian girlfriends, right? With Pogba. And speaking of which, we can only do 5 top transfers, right? So I definitely want to talk about this, and then we'll do few small transfer rapid fire as well. Pogba going back to Juventus. That is probably the most. That's a tragedy. Like, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. He's a great player.
Yeah.
Pogba on his day, especially with the French national team, is just phenomenal. Yes, he has so much confidence. His spat with Mourinho, him just the sheer turmoil. Like Barca and Manchester United have sort of mirrored this turmoil, and for him to now go back to Juventus, right? What does Juventus benefit and what does Man United lose?
I guess Manchester United. I think more or less it was obvious that Pogba would leave. I know, I think United fans, in a way or another, imagined their team building without Pogba than with Pogba after what happened in recent years. I know. So with Erik ten Hag in charge, I think they're gonna go a different route from now on, because they're bringing in Donny van de Beek, who's gonna be the number 10 now.
Thank God.
And all that stuff. And it's always talked about, like Pogba to Juventus transfer is talked about more from Manchester United spectacle than what
Juventus' game.
Yeah. So I was reading an article by Team Spears, who covers Wolves for the Athletic, and he went to Italy. He traveled to Italy to actually feel the sentiment of Pogba transfer, because right now as well, Juventus in the city of Turin, there are 3 shirts that are selling a lot. The first one is obviously Paul Pogba back, number 10 Paul Pogba, and then Angel Di Maria. They've already also signed Angel Di Maria, and then the third most selling shirt is Dusan Vlahovic. So
I love that guy.
Yeah, for Juve, this season is kind of a renaissance because they lost league title. They were down bad, and they're trying to rebuild. And for this year, with Paulo Dybala leaving on a free transfer, they're also in a similar situation like Manchester United, where they're trying to rise up and then guarantee their Serie A title. You know,
Where do you think Dybala is going?
Dybala still a free agent, so he's up there for anyone's picking.
PSG.
Not maybe, because PSG are, surprisingly enough, when I tell you this, but PSG are actually considering a good footballing project from this year on.
Okay.
So they've gotten a really good coach,
Mm.
Christopher Galtier, who won the league title with Lyon, if you remember, when Memphis Depay was still at Lyon. So
Awar was
2020,
also in that team,
yeah,
right?
yeah, Hosam Hawa. So they have gotten that manager, and then now they are trying to kind of build a team that's sustainable. One of them. Ani Dybala is still up for grabs, but for Juventus, they are not getting a bad player at all. If he's not injured, and provided what he did in Juventus in 4 years, they regard him as a hero.
As they should.
And another dimension he gave them 85 million, and now he's coming for nothing.
He is the greatest. He is the greatest hero.
Yeah, that's also what people consider him there. Right? So Pogba, sort of, I shouldn't put them on the same bracket, but reminds me of Zidane in more than one ways. So both of them are like these flawed geniuses who are not perfect in any sense, but on their day, but on their day, they are a pleasure to watch. With Zidane as well, he was very inconsistent, but on his day, he was unplayable.
That 2006 match with Brazil.
Yeah. That was like, if you still pull out the highlights, that's
a team with Ronaldo, Ronaldinho.
It's even like it's an insult to name every player of that team, because it was such good of a team, and Zidane like just
masterclass,
like
wiped the floor.
Yeah, all by himself. And then for Pogba as well, it applies in certain ways. Like they might have different ceilings, but like that's why like consistency has become a really key concept in world football.
That Pogba in Juventus was one of the best midfielders I've ever seen, man.
Yeah.
Do you remember? There was a match against Sampdoria, I don't know who it was, and that long range shot, and people just knew he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it, and he did it. Like it was.
Yeah, Paul Pogba ko say, I've read quite a lot on him, and then what he was always looked at from the French like under 20s to 2014 go. I guess he was the best young player in the World Cup.
Golden boy too, right?
Yeah, golden boy. Yeah, and then. He was always sort of considered as the France's next creative outlet, and with France, he's done that to a certain extent as well.
He's won the World Cup.
Yeah. And personality, you can always debate on how he damages the reputation of the dressing room or any other sorts, but still, he's someone who you'd love to have on a team on his day. So with Juventus and with Manchester United, he had injury issues as well. And the coach feud with Mourinho and all that, you know that, right? But with Juventus, I think he's also looking to revive his career out of a 6-year stage where he was a shadow of himself. So yeah, it's a good signing for Juventus, I would say, because he's getting him most importantly for free, and they have someone like Dusan Vlahovic who's there to finish.
That guy. I remember talking this with you.
Yeah.
And I remember telling you wait till that Vlahovic kid. He was incredible in Fiorentina, bro. I saw that. I followed Serie A a little more fervently than I did La Liga that season. I loved that kid. Like, he is that old. He reminds me of Michu in his prime.
Yeah. Swansea. Yeah, but like, still to consider is Vlahovic is 21. So, and then he has that physique of like Lukaku like physique in a way.
You would boisterous lefty too, right?
Yeah. And you would imagine him not being that agile, but he's super good for his size.
Absolutely. So the last transfer, number 5, why I actually ranked this number 5 also is because I think this is the Champions League winning signing. I think this signing will finally give Manchester City that coveted prize, because you need a striker in that squad. I mean, I don't care if you have all the the best midfielders in the world. A team will come and shut you down and not let you play your game if you don't have that one person who has a moment of brilliance or just knows what does the Van Nistelrooy basically is Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland to Man City is for me again. Everybody can debate this point, but for me it is the signing this season because this finally ensures that Manchester City is winning the Champions League. What is your take?
Yeah, I mean, probably City lay last go 2 or 3 seasons after Aguero started going that decline route or started becoming obviously injured. They always wanted to sign a number 9, whereas Pep Guardiola's side have not been particularly good using the number 9s, bar Robert Lewandowski, of course. Ibrahimovic was in Barcelona when Pep Guardiola was in Barcelona, and he didn't work out well. And with Pep's side as well, अब City को 2-3 season नै कुरा गर्नु, Gabriel Jesus was more of like a link-up striker than a typical number 9, and they always had guys like Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne, or even Raheem Sterling scoring goals for them. So they didn't need a striker. Like they needed a striker, but they didn't desperately need a striker to score those goals. But to give a step up, they always wanted that sort of a player. Although they knew एउटा number 9 भयो भने चाहिँ उनीहरूको सिस्टममा कम्प्रोमाइज जस्तै हुन्छ because they will have a player less who can probably link up more, you know. That's why I think they went all out for Harry Kane last summer, because they knew they had to have that influencer factor who would take them from Champions League semi-finals to the Champions League winning side. So I think that this is a really good signing in terms of City's favor. If they're willing to compromise, they will obviously have to compromise with the number 9. But who is like hotter than Erling Haaland in today's market?
Only Mbappe.
But he's not an out and out number 9. So
No, he's not.
yeah, so Erling Haaland is probably the man that they wanted, and they've gotten it as well. So I think both Liverpool and City are going the same route this season. They both signed a typical number 9 that they want to put in front of goal and then score some goals, because I think they're at this point of time they're pretty confident that they'll create chances, and then they'll need an extra edge to break that barrier of whatever that is. For example, like breaking a low block team in Premier League, or going to the Champions League and winning those clutch matches. So it is an interesting signing if you compare the dynamics with Liverpool, and in independent regards as well. City, with this signing, have also set out a statement. Prior to this, City were always infamous as a club that would pull players because of money or because of their coach. But with Erling Haaland's transfer, they can actually establish themselves that they're also developing as a club and as a brand to young players as well, right? So I think they're still they're gonna have to fix. And I mean, there's nothing to fix in a Pep Guardiola side, but they'll have to trim themselves down. But like, this is a solid signing, and I rightly agree with you that this might be the top signing of this window in terms of the impact and in terms of what a club was wanting and what the club got.
Any other signing that you want to talk about that stuck out to you?
The stuck out to me,
How's Darwin?
Darwin Nunez. So Darwin Nunez, very tall, and
Andy Carroll?
I mean, preseason go footages are हेर्नुभएको भने तर actually was being compared to Andy Carroll because of his like first touches are एकदमै sloppy थियो त्यही फेरि ठग्यो लिभरपुललाई भन्ने खालको कुराहरू आइरहेको थियो but I've seen his games in Benfica, and he's unbelievably quick for his size. Unbelievably, he makes those diagonal runs. He's for that physique, I think he's way par what he should be. Like he's really good. So Liverpool are a side in the recent times that have exemplified how a club should be run, or how scouting and recruitment should be done. So they have lost Sadio Mane this time around, rightfully so, because they found like Luis Diaz even before he left, right? And now that they're getting a number 9, they're betting on a player with a significant risk only for the third time in Klopp's tenure. So if you look at it, Klopp has only signed 3 players for this big amount. One was Virgil van Dijk, which paid off really well. Allison, which paid off really well, and now it's Darwin Nunez. So I think he's gonna fare at Liverpool as well. But I'll make a very weird prediction. Either one of Haaland or Darwin Nunez will end up in a flop. So I this is my instinct, but I think my gut feeling tells me one is gonna be super successful, but one is gonna be
patchy.
very patchy. Yeah, but either ways, don't get me wrong. Both of them are gonna get 15-20 goals this Premier League season. There's no denying that.
I don't know about Darwin. I saw I can't say I saw games. I saw clips on YouTube, right? Few clips, and you can tell what kind of player he is. And as you rightfully said, he is so quick for that, agile for that size. Hoping for the best for them.
Actually, adding something to Darwin Nunez, I first saw Darwin Nunez when he used to play for Almeria, Spanish side Almeria. He was, I guess, 19 back then when he played for Almeria. And when I first saw him, and physique, of course, different nature. I think Luis Suarez also told this recently in a podcast, that if he wanted Barcelona to replace him, he wanted to sign Darwin Nunez in Barcelona. But Barcelona clearly just ignored it because of obvious reasons, right? Right. Yeah. And then I saw for Darwin Nunez first when he was at Almeria, and he I think scored a goal against Barcelona. So he also diagonal run, meeting the ball, and then and also his first touch is good, unlike Lukaku.
Unlike Lukaku. The Ronaldo saga. There's this whole separate podcast that we can do on that, and the multiple people will be involved in that podcast. But just to summarize, I hope he stays. I still think he's one of the best players in the world, if not the. And he's had positive impact on the. I mean, he's had positive impact on his goal tally, but I don't know what happens behind closed doors. I think he should stay, but where is this going?
Okay, this is an interesting thing that people fail to look at from a perspective that I guess makes a lot of sense than other perspectives. So, Ronaldo is 37 now, and I've never I'm narrow-sighted, but I've never seen a fitter 37-year-old than Cristiano Ronaldo is right now. Amen. Right? He has a brand I think no other 37-year-old has in the world. He has the physique that no other 37-year-old athlete has in the world, and footballing wise as well, he's the best 37-year-old alive right now, or even ever. So he does not put on that amount of hard work without expecting any return. And right now as well, if he stays in a club that plays in Europa League, that's obviously doing some sort of injustice and decline in his own standards and stuff like that, right? So what Cristiano Ronaldo did when he came to Manchester United was basically search an avenue for himself, as well as a little bit of maybe the homecoming aspect, right? But what he basically wanted to do at United was he was seeing a club that could succeed. Right now, United maybe have a long-term project planned on, because I think that's the right way to go with Ten Hag. But does Ronaldo have the time to wait for that long-term project is the thing. So I think that's why it has nothing to do with Erik Ten Hag. It has nothing to do with any sort of dressing room conflict or any sort of thing. It's just that Ronaldo wants to compete in the utmost level, and then the most competitive level. Yeah, till he can. Yeah, exactly. That's why I think Jorge Mendes is doing rounds offering United Ronaldo to other clubs. Even when he had a meeting with Todd Bowley, David Ornstein report gaya tha yo chahi, Ronaldo was one of those topics discussed in the meeting. They didn't meet to discuss Ronaldo, but Ronaldo's future was one of the topics that they discussed. But Thomas Tuchel didn't approve it, of course. But you can sense it. Like even Bayern Munich director has openly denied that they're not signing Ronaldo. But now that Robert Lewandowski is done, which they always expected him to stay no matter what, that also can be an alternative route. But still, United went to Thailand. Ronaldo didn't join. United went to Australia. He didn't join. And there's a saying in English football: if a player stays in England during the preseason, he's gone. So yeah, that happened with Rafinha as well. But like, I think he's gonna stay ultimately because United have already established and maintained that Ronaldo is not for sale. And to buy Ronaldo, even a 37-year Ronaldo, you need to have big pockets, as well as you need to be willing to compromise in order to accommodate him. Because he's not like a 29-year Ronaldo who used to run havoc at Real Madrid. So there are clubs that suit for him.
He goes to PSG.
I mean, make that dream happen. Like
Make that dream.
Yeah.
This is the only time you can make it happen.
Yeah, but probably not. Yeah, Mbappe won't approve that.
MSG.
Or probably he would.
He probably said
Yeah, because he was his idol growing up.
So he might say, RMM. I like the sound
Ronaldo.
of that.
Yeah.
Ronaldo, Messi, Mbappe.
MRM or even MRM. Yeah, but it's possible. Anything is possible with PSG. Tara, my gut feeling says, in order to sign Ronaldo and in order to fit a project that he wants to be in, it's nearly impossible unless a miracle happens. So I think he's gonna stick with Manchester United, and then of course Ten Hag has also said he's willing to work with Ronaldo. So let's see what it goes. But I see him staying, honestly.
He stays.
Yeah, he stays. Sequela.
Sequera. So fantastic, man. This is great. We've almost talked an hour.
Okay. I don't want it to end. By the way, there was this one interesting thing that came up yesterday regarding Rafinha's transfer to Barcelona, right? So, Deco.
Yeah.
Deco is Rafinha's agent.
Oh really? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He started to represent a few.
Yeah.
Deco.
You know Florian Wirtz, right?
Yeah.
The kid from
The
Bayer
kid by
Leverkusen.
Leverkusen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also represented by Deco.
Deco.
Yeah.
No way.
So what Deco did for this is he always assured Barcelona that if they met a certain fee, Rafinha would be coming to Barcelona. But Chelsea and Arsenal came in between, and then they raised the bids and everything. But at last, when Rafinha deal was done in Barcelona, Deco didn't even take a single penny as agent fees.
Oh wow.
Yeah, for him to go to Barcelona. And there are I think this is the most complicated saga that I've ever seen, because when Rafinha was getting ready for his presentation in Spain, it was not done. The deal was not done yet because Leeds United were not willing to sign the deal. You know why? Because they were not assured that Barcelona would pay them the full money.
Oh.
And as a result, now what they have done is, if Barcelona don't pay Leeds United in the designated date, they've introduced a new clause which basically says if Barcelona fail to pay this much of money within this date, they'll have to pay 10 million extras. So that was
they have to.
yeah. So that was very interesting because Rafinha was that's how they put it. Rafinha was tying his tie, and then the deal was not still done. Leeds United were not willing to take. And that's why Barcelona have caused a lot of delays in this transfer market this season. Because Leeds were going for a player called Charles de Ketelaere. He's Belgian. He's a Belgian. And I think he's likely to go to AC Milan, but they're bidding for him as well. So that money and then everything, Robert Lewandowski deal, everything. And everyone is like, how the heck can a bankrupt club run a transfer market right there?
But they are. I don't know how they're doing it, but that Spotify deal helped probably.
No. They're selling their TV rights, and if you don't know how it works, so basically what they do is they sell their TV rights, certain percent of the TV rights, to a company for certain years, and on return of that, the company, let's say, immediately paisa dincha ke.
Okay.
So right now what the deal is about is 10% to a certain company for the next 25 years. La Liga ko matches revenue 10% to that company every year for 25 years. So if I put this into perspective for you, right now Barcelona have gotten 203 million from that company for selling 10% of their rights for 25 years. तर on an average Barcelonaको revenue yearly from La Liga matches is 166 million, right? So 10% of that would be 16 million. So for 25 years, of course, it like the TV revenue increase huncha Barca by Barca. But for 25 years, let's not consider the increase. They'll have to pay 16 million every year to that company. Yeah. For 25 years, it accounts to like 400 million. So they're like getting 203 million instant cash for 400 million on the long term. So that's
It's like loan shark business.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Very nice. Well, I mean, that's the fascinating thing where Barcelona have dug themselves a hole, and now they're sort of digging out of it, and
Trying to.
yeah, man. I mean, who knows? Maybe Messi comes back.
2023 may make it happen.
Well, I mean, crazier things that happen in football. I'm sure we're gonna sit down before you leave for Qatar one more time. So before and round up this transfer window, and so this has been great. Lovely always talking to you, and I look forward to having you here for the next time also.
Yeah, in-person podcasts are like literally the best. So yeah, I plan on coming here again, in person and as well as online, keeping that avenue open. So yeah.
When you're in Qatar, maybe we do a live one when the World Cup is going on.
I mean, yes, always a possibility.
Never say never. Maybe I'm there too.
Yeah, of course you should be.
All right, man. Thank you so much, guys. Episode 18 in the bag. This is the ASM pod with Sudesh Baniya for our Footie Talk, a special transfer roundup, the top 5 transfer stories, and that's how it goes. I'll see you again next time for episode 19. What's it gonna be? Only time will tell. Till then, take care.